Nest, that is, isn't it?
Bet he wishes he hadn't got involved.
The reason that we raised this whole very delicate subject is these things.
You're taking it out?
I am. It's a Happy Mondays single. And it's 60, well, not this single, but the 7-inch single is 60 years old this year. Not many people thought it would survive this time.
No. It was a format, of course, that launched Elvis and the Beatles and Motown. It's now making a comeback, as Robert Plummer explains.
Record companies never thought they'd still be selling these things in 2009. 7-inch vinyl singles should have been killed off by CDs, MP3s and other newfangled formats. But here in this factory on the edge of West London, the old-fashioned single is still in production, 6 decades after it first hit the shops.
This factory, Portal Space Records, makes about 1 million 7-inch a year. EMI used to make around 50 million a year, but it's still very important, and we are the most important, biggest factory in the UK, and without us there wouldn't be a vinyl industry in the UK, I think.
It's all a far cry from the heyday of the vinyl single in the 1950s, 60s and 70s. Sales peaked in 1979, when a staggering 89 million of them were sold in the UK alone. From that high point, sales eventually fell to fewer than 200,000 a year. But now they're back above the 1 million mark, as a new generation of fans and musicians discover the appeal of vinyl. Up-and-coming artist Jack Peñate launched his career with a limited edition 7-inch single that featured a unique Polaroid photograph stuck to the front of every copy. As well as making singles, he also collects them, and even DJs in clubs using just 7-inch singles.
If you download music, you rarely listen to it over and over again, whereas most of my singles have been played hundreds of times.
Even in this digital age, the snap, crackle and pop of old vinyl is still very much alive and well. Robert Plummer, BBC News.
And Neil McCormick is a music journalist with the Daily Telegraph, who's played a 7-inch or 2 in his time, I think, isn't he?
I still have a few. I'm not so attached to them as an object, although I understand their massive appeal, but I still have a few rather precious ones, like the Undertones Teenage Kicks in a photocopied sleeve that they made themselves.
John Peel's favourite song.
Yeah, I remember, basically I heard him play it, and then he was so excited about it, he played it again, and then I rushed out the next day to the local punk record shop.
What is the attraction, do you think? Is it to hear the real music, even if it means cracks? And no, it doesn't.
I don't think it's about listening to the music, because actually, you know, it's a wonderful object, but it doesn't have fantastic sound quality, and that's why 12-inch singles were more popular when they came in, because they got a bit of bass. It's quite a thin sound. They're very, even the modern ones are very thin and often have very flimsy sort of sound quality.
Even thinner than that compressed sound you sometimes get on.
So
CDs.
it's the fact that they're like a bullet from a band. You know, that thing, the 45 RPM single, represents what pop culture was built on. And they're being revived by indie bands, guitar bands, who are very steeped in the kind of 60s myth. And it's a beautiful object.
It also made you concentrate on the sound much more, because you could only play one at a time, and you went out and bought it singly, put it on the machine, then you got the needle and the groove, and you really had to concentrate on it for 2.5 minutes, whatever it was, rather than just any old stuff that came
Well, you know, music's been cheapened by its freedom now, and any band can make a record, and they can make a record, not even a record, they can make a song, and they can disseminate it for free on the internet. But if you want to have an object that your fans can carry and listen to and hold as something precious, the 7-inch single becomes quite an interesting object. I don't actually believe that the fans are then going out and even playing them, because they can still listen to the music by clicking onto their computer and listen to an MP3, but they can hold the 7-inch single. They can put it in a file, they can keep it somewhere. So it's more about that, really.
Yeah. Are they worth much? 7-inch singles that people might... We have so many people writing in to tell us about their first 7-inch.
They're not massively worth a lot of money, you know, because like anything that people collect, they have to be in sort of pristine order.
Right.
So if you loved it and you played it a lot, you've already devalued it. It's like those people say, oh, toys are collector's items, but only if they're left in the original box. Well, you know, what kind of sad child leaves the toy in the original box?
This might be an investment.
You get the odd ones, you know, if you have enough of them, you get £200 for this one.
But there's always a story, and there's a little bit of history with them, which you can't have in an MP3
Well, you can't have. Well, that's one of the problems with music now is it's lost all its collectability, all its sense of tangibility. It's just, you know, you can get a phone and it's got unlimited music on it. So, dude, how do you fall in love with music that you can listen to anything, anywhere,
So
anytime?
it makes music more disposable. It's here today, it's gone tomorrow.
More disposable.
Yeah.
How's this for a story? Mike Wilcock, who now lives in South Wales, says he bought a single by a band in June '63, and on the basis of that, decided to book them for a dance at the Floral Hall in Morecambe. He paid 95 quid and they played for an hour and a half. The single was Come On, and the band was somebody called the Rolling Stones. Actually, 95 quid in June '63.
That's quite a lot, isn't it?
That was a lot of money, wasn't it?
That's a very good story. And your favourite 7-inch that's
My
still at
favourite
home?
7-inch that I've got all the U2 records because I was big into U2, and when I was a teenager, they were the Irish band.
Yep.
But sadly, the first record I ever bought was one of those tragic. It was tragic in every sense of the word. It was Seasons in the Sun. But
I love that song. We had joy, we had fun.
we had Seasons in the Sun.
Oh.
Wow.
My sister broke it.
Oh, did she?
Well,
Yeah.
She was probably doing me a kindness.
I think so.
Yeah.
Double tragedy.
Good thing too.
All right.
Nice to see you,
Thanks,
Neil.
Neil.